In Argentina, labor organizations began national strike to reject Javier Milei's neoliberal policies. In Palestine, Israeli occupation forces continue with the killing of civilians in the framework of the 110th day of the total siege on Gaza. And in Russia, a military aircraft carrying 65 Ukrainian prisoners of war crashed in western Belgorod. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the TeleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Labor organizations began national strike in Argentina as part of the general strike in rejection of the neoliberal policies of President Javier Milei. The Argentine workers' unions called a mobilization for 3 o'clock in the afternoon local time in the center of the capital city of Buenos Aires. The mobilization is expected to be attended by some 40,000 people, and they will go to the doors of the Congress to demonstrate against decrees and laws promoted by Javier Milei. Social leaders assured that they will mobilize in spite of the criminalization of social protests at the hands of the new government. This is in reference to the new security protocol, which contemplates the detention of citizens who obstruct traffic, as well as the payment of costs for the security operation during the mobilizations. In Argentina, on the eve of the call for a national strike against the government of Javier Milei, deputies granted a majority opinion for the so-called omnibus bill, in spite of multiple dissenting opinions. Argentine legislators dealt in commissions with the initiative that contemplates public emergency privatizations, limitations to protest, increase of withholdings, capital laundering, and a reform of the state. In this regard, a majority opinion obtained by the ruling party has 55 signatures, of which 34 are in dissidence. This way, the bill is ready to be debated in the lower house in a marathon session to be held on Thursday and Friday. Haiti suffers from a serious humanitarian and security situation which exacerbates the social instability and poverty caused by centuries of colonial and neo-colonial plunder, underdevelopment, and foreign interventions. To update us from the current situation facing that sister Caribbean nation and the struggle for its definitive independence, our collaborator Danny Shaw talked with Esaye Jules, leader of MOLAGAF, the Movement for Equality and Liberation for All Haitians. During the conversation, the Haitian social and political activist tells us about the true nature of the so-called gangs and their attacks on the civilian population.
The so-called gangs are actually paramilitaries that are attacking Solino and Fort National and our neighborhoods. There are already estimates that set the number of internal refugees in all Haiti between 300,000 to 500,000 who are suffering from this paramilitary war against the civilian population of Port-au-Prince. We want to continue mobilizing against the dictatorship, but the paramilitaries continue attacking us, displacing us, burning our houses. They have murdered several relatives of our comrades. It is important to continue mobilizing the neighborhoods against colonialism. And now we are facing the threat from Kenya. The imperialism wants to use Kenya to invade Haiti with over 1,000 or 2,000 soldiers. And all the weapons that are being used in this war against the population come from the United States.
In another part of the conversation, Esaye referred to the struggle for countries' independence and its present and future challenges.
We have to dismantle the conventional discourse. They have been haunting us, the popular leaders. Those who have resisted and fought for many years for a total economic and political change in Haiti. February the 7th is the historical day of the general elections. But we haven't had democratic elections since 1990 and 2001. We continue to fight for socio-economic demands because we don't believe in the traditional system that continues to exploit and repress us. In the fields and in the free trade zones where they exploit the cheap labor force.
Former U.S. President Donald Trump won the Republican primaries in the state of New Hampshire, surpassing the number of votes of his rival, the former governor of South Carolina, Nikki Haley. According to official data, Donald Trump has so far garnered approximately 87,025 votes, in contrast to the 71,609 obtained by Haley. This way, the former president advances towards the nomination for the candidacy for the next presidential elections to be held in November of this year. In the New Hampshire primary, only 22 delegates out of the 2,429 that will participate in the Republican National Convention. Trump and Haley will contest for votes again next February 24th in South Carolina. Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at TeleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. Other stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back from the south. On Wednesday, the Palestinian authorities announced the killing of civilians by Israeli attacks in the framework of the 110th day of the total siege on the Gaza Strip. In this sense, local media highlighted that thousands of Palestinians gathered in front of the morgue of Nayar Hospital in Rafah to bid farewell to the bodies of their relatives killed by Israeli bombardments. On the other hand, the Palestinian Red Crescent also announced on Wednesday that 3 displaced people were killed and 2 others were wounded after Israeli warplanes attacked the vicinity of the building in Khan Yunis. According to medical sources, at least 50 people were killed and nearly 120 injured in the last 24 hours after Israeli airstrikes in the western areas of the city. The Israeli government on Wednesday ordered the residents of Gaza to leave the Khan Yunis center area, which includes the Nasser hospital and 2 other smaller hospitals. In this regard, as the Tel Aviv regime continues its 3-month military offensive in Gaza, the United Nations Humanitarian Office has rejected the evacuation order, stating that 88,000 Palestinians live in the area. On the other hand, the humanitarian organization Doctors Without Borders declared that its staff is trapped in the Nasser hospital with some 850 patients and thousands of displaced people because the surrounding roads are inaccessible or too dangerous. It should be noted that the Nasser hospital is one of the only 2 hospitals in southern Gaza that can still treat critically ill patients. The situation in Gaza continues to deteriorate for Palestinians. Access to food and water remains very limited, and many are affected by diseases. Our TeleSUR correspondent Nur Harasin with the news.
Palestinians are suffering here in the Gaza Strip with a very deteriorating humanitarian crisis. There is rarely any access to food, water, and as winter is hitting on Gaza, Palestinians are suffering from the infectious diseases as the plastic tents cannot even protect them from the very cold winter. This morning, actually, it is very early. It is around 7:30 in the morning, and we have 2 cousins, Lean and Taline, and they are out in this very cold morning to try and fill some water in their tank at home. Let us meet the girls.
Hello, what's your name?
Lynn,
How old are you?
I am 10 years old.
Tell me, what are you doing? What's that you're carrying?
We are filling our tank with water.
How do you manage to fill your tank with water? It's 7 a.m. and it's very cold. What's making you fill your water tank?
The situation is not good. The situation is not good. We are filling our water tank.
Are you from the city of Nafa or Nasa?
Natha.
Where are you from?
I am from Gaza.
Hello, how are you?
Fine.
Tell me, why are you here? It's only in the morning. Are you filling up water in your tank?
Yes, because we don't have anything to drink.
Where are you from?
We are from the north. We came here in the morning and we have plenty of water in our tank.
طيب خالته الحمد لله على
Thank you.
السلامة.
Thank you.
So in these simple words, this is how the children of Palestine, of here in Gaza, live through this very difficult circumstances that was forced on them by the Israeli operation on Gaza. Nur Harazin, TeleSUR, Gaza.
Palestinian Foreign Minister Riyad al-Maliki called for a world peace conference to uphold international law and implement UN resolutions on the Gaza Strip. During a meeting of the United Nations Security Council, the senior Palestinian official stated that the Israeli offensive includes the most savage and indiscriminate bombardment in the post-Second World era, to massive destruction and a cruel siege that deprived the population of the essentials for their survival, together with the forced displacement of millions of people. In this context, the Secretary General of the organization, Antonio Guterres, affirmed that Israel's position of rejecting the two-state solution is unacceptable and called for the entry of food and supplies to the Gaza Strip.
The entire population of Gaza is enduring destruction at a scale and speed without parallel in recent history. Nothing can justify the collective punishment of the Palestinian people. We need more crossing points into Gaza to reduce congestion and avoid checkpoints. The provision of aid to Gaza via the Ashdod port in Israel must also resume. A first shipment of flour reached Gaza from Ashdod, but much more is required.
For his part, the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov affirmed that the United States blocked all the initiative of the Security Council that sought to put an end to the bloodshed of the Palestinian people.
The Council has failed to come out with an adequate response to this truly fateful challenge, and we know the reason for this from the U.S. positions. The United States has blocked all efforts and initiatives aimed at ending the bloodshed in the occupied territory. The amazing thing is how widespread U.S. diplomacy is. It oscillates between vetoing ceasefire resolutions and, at the same time, calling for a reduction in the intensity of hostilities in Gaza. This undoubtedly serves as a carte blanche for the ongoing collective punishment of the Palestinians.
In the same sense, Iranian Foreign Minister Hossein Amir Abdollahian condemned the complicity of the United States with the genocide perpetrated by Israel and rejected the attacks on Yemen.
The United States repeatedly expresses great concern over this spillover of tension in the region, yet continues to fully support the Israeli regime's war machine and even violates Yemen's sovereignty and expands the scope of the conflict. The United States must take responsibility for its consequences.
We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience, you can scan the QR code on screen to join directly and share the link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean as well as the rest of the world. Stay connected and informed with TeleSUR. Final short break, don't go away. Welcome back from the south. In Russia, a major aircraft carrying 65 Ukrainian prisoners of war crashed on Wednesday in western Belgorod region. The Russian Ministry of Defense reported that on board the aircraft were 65 prisoners of war of the armed forces of Ukraine who were being transported for an exchange. 6 crew members and 3 escorts were also on board. The accident occurred in the Koroshansky district, where a commission of the Russian Airspace Forces was sent to establish the causes of the accident. The aircraft crashed approximately 50 kilometers from the Ukrainian border and only 5 to 6 kilometers from a village where it caused no personal injury or material damage, local residents reported. In Mongolia, on Wednesday, 6 people died after a truck carrying 60 tons of gasoline exploded in the city of Ulaanbaatar. Local authorities said the explosion of the truck generated a strong fire that firefighting forces had to face. In this way, the flames spread to a nearby building, while residents of other buildings in the area were evacuated. Among the fatalities were 3 firefighters who died from the fire, while 10 injured people were taken to a nearby hospital with burns. In this regard, authorities said that an investigation will be opened to find the cause of the accident. The government of China on Wednesday officially resumed diplomatic ties with the Republic of Nauru after the latter cut ties with Taiwan. Nauru re-established ties with Beijing after Taiwan's election, joining the 182 countries that recognize the One China principle. Foreign Minister of Foreign Affairs Wang Yi and his Pacific Island counterpart Lionel Angmea held a meeting in Beijing where they discussed the future of bilateral cooperation relations between the two nations. Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Mao Ning emphasized that his decision by Nauru was based on a correct choice made independently as a sovereign country. Mao also highlighted that the development of diplomatic relations and practical cooperation in various fields promise broad prospects and will bring unprecedented development opportunities for Nauru. In Germany, the GDL union representing many train drivers started another strike to press its demands for better pay and working hours in a bitter dispute with the country's state-owned main railway operator. The 6-day strike will affect passenger services operated by state-owned Deutsche Bahn from 2 a.m. on Wednesday until 6 p.m. on Monday. Freight trains are hit since 6 p.m. Tuesday. The union held a 3-day strike earlier this month and 2 warning strikes last year, which lasted up to 24 hours. In addition to pay raises, the union is calling for working hours to be reduced from 38 to 35 per week without a pay reduction, a demand which Deutsche Bahn has so far refused. In Belgium, meanwhile, farmers rallied outside the European Parliament in Brussels in the latest protests affecting the agricultural sector. The European Commission plans to start talks with farmers' federations, agribusinesses, NGOs and experts on January 24th to discuss key issues such as farm income, sustainable farming practices, technological innovations and competitiveness. It should be noted that the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, had promised in September to start talks with the leaders of the agricultural unions, insisting that agriculture and environmental protection were not mutually exclusive. On Wednesday, authorities in China emphasized that the number of victims after the landslide in which 44 people were buried on Monday in the southern province of Yunnan rose to 34. According to the state agency Xinhua, 10 people are still missing due to the event that took place in Zhejiang County, affecting about 18 homes located in the low area between two mountains. In the meantime, local authorities report that more than 500 people have been evacuated from their homes. According to a preliminary investigation, the landslide's mass measured approximately 100 meters wide, 60 meters high, and reached an average thickness of 6 meters. Elsewhere, Chinese President Xi Jinping called for a total effort in the search and rescue of trapped people. And as aftershocks continue to rock western China on Wednesday following a 7.1 earthquake in Xinjiang, more than 12,000 people were staying in tents and other shelters, lighting bonfires to fend off the freezing weather. Authorities registered 3 people dead, 5 injured, and damage to hundreds of buildings. The toll on life was relatively light, owing to the sparse population around the epicenter in Ustrupand County, near the border with Kazakhstan. In the United Kingdom, warnings are issued for the arrival of Storm Jocelyn, which affects the region with strong winds, rain, and flooding. The Weather Bureau issued amber and yellow warnings for winds across much of the United Kingdom, along with yellow warnings for rain covering parts of western southern Scotland and northwestern England. The agency noted with the arrival of Jocelyn, wind gusts of up to 130 kilometers per hour are expected in exposed areas, and 40 to 50 millimeters of rain is possible in higher ground. With Jocelyn, as with Isha, school closures, road closures, transport disruptions, and possible train cancellations are expected on routes north. We have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our social media on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.